I was sitting in my daughter Bridget's kitchen on a Tuesday afternoon, peeling potatoes for dinner while she complained about the cost of her son's private school tuition, when I saw it. My phone, the one my son Garrett had set up for me last Christmas because, "Mom, you need to stay connected," buzzed on the counter. A notification from something called Facebook. I'd created an account months ago but never really understood how to use it. Bridget had shown me how to post pictures of my garden, but that was about it. I picked up the phone and squinted at the screen. The notification said, "Bridget Hart Morrison tagged you in a post." "What does this mean?" I asked her. Bridget looked up from her laptop where she was working from home, which seemed to mostly involve online shopping. Her face went pale. "Oh, that's nothing, Mom. Just Facebook stuff. Don't worry about it." But something in her voice made me suspicious. In 62 years of life, I'd learned to recognize when someone was lying to me, and my daughter was definitely lying. "How do I see it?" I asked. "Mom, really, it's not important." "Bridget, show me how to see what you posted about me." She hesitated, then sighed and took my phone. A few taps later, she handed it back without meeting my eyes. "I have to take a work call," she mumbled, grabbing her laptop and hurrying out of the kitchen. I looked at the screen and felt my heart stop. The post was from 3 days ago. A photo of me at Garrett's house, asleep in his recliner with my mouth open, looking every one of my 62 years. The caption read, "When your mom falls asleep at 6 p.m. and you're stuck entertaining her for another 3 hours because she doesn't like to drive at night. Send help. Family obligation. Love her butt." There were 47 comments. My hands shook as I scrolled through them. Bridget had commented, "LOL, I know the feeling. Mine showed up at my house yesterday just to visit and stayed for 5 hours. Like I don't have my own life." Garrett's wife Shanice had written, "At least yours doesn't ask for money every other week. Just a little help with the electric bill, dear. It adds up." Bridget responded, "Right? Mine thinks I'm made of money. I bought her groceries last month and she asked if I could help out with her car payment too. Woman, you get Social Security." Someone named Todd, I didn't even know who that was, had commented, "Old people don't understand boundaries. My dad is the same way. They think because they raised us, we owe them forever." Garrett replied, "Exactly. I love my mom, but damn, the guilt trips are exhausting." I scrolled further back through Bridget's page with trembling fingers. There were more posts, so many more. 2 weeks ago, a screenshot of a text conversation between Bridget and Garrett. My text to Bridget asking if she could pick up a prescription for me because I wasn't feeling well was highlighted with her caption, "Exhibit A. Why having aging parents is a full-time job nobody warns you about." A month ago, a photo of my living room with the caption, "Visited Mom today. Her house is stuck in 1985 and she won't let me help redecorate because that's how your father liked it. At this rate, she's going to die surrounded by floral wallpaper and doilies. Zur vintage nightmare." 3 months ago, Mom called crying today because she's lonely. Guys, I can't be her entire social life. She needs to make friends her own age instead of depending on me for everything. Advice? 62 comments offering suggestions on dealing with needy elderly parents. 6 months ago, a video. I clicked on it with dread. It was me at Garrett's birthday party trying to figure out how to video call my sister on my new phone. I was holding it at an awkward angle, accidentally on selfie mode, my confused face filling the screen while I kept saying, "Hello? Shirley? Can you hear me? How do I see you?" In the background, I could hear Garrett and his friends laughing. The caption, "Technology and old people don't mix." She spent 10 minutes talking to herself before we told her she wasn't even connected. Yar boomer moment. 600 likes. 600 people had laughed at me struggling with technology my son was supposed to be helping me with. I sat down heavily at Bridget's kitchen table, my legs suddenly unable to hold me. This was how my children saw me. A burden, an obligation, a joke. My name is Evelyn Margaret Hart. I'm 62 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, in a modest 3-bedroom house in the Selwood neighborhood. My husband Frank died 4 years ago from a sudden heart attack, leaving me alone at 58 with a paid-off house, a small pension from his job at the post office, and Social Security. I have 2 children, Garrett, 38, a marketing manager at a tech company, married to Shanice with 2 kids, and Bridget, 35, a freelance graphic designer married to Connor with 1 son. For the past 4 years, since Frank died, I've tried so hard not to be a burden. I ask for help maybe twice a month, a ride to the doctor when it's raining too hard to take the bus, help carrying groceries when I've shopped at Costco, someone to change a light bulb I can't reach. I've given them everything. When Garrett wanted to start his own business 5 years ago, I gave him $15,000 from Frank's life insurance. When Bridget's husband Connor lost his job 2 years ago, I paid their mortgage for 3 months, $5,400 total. When Garrett's son needed braces last year, I contributed $3,000. I babysit every Thursday so Bridget can have alone time. I make Sunday dinners every week, spending my limited budget on feeding 7 people. I knit scarves and sweaters for my grandchildren. I send birthday cards with checks inside that I can barely afford. And this cruelty, this mockery, this public humiliation was how they repaid me. I looked at the potato peeler still in my hand. I'd been preparing dinner for Bridget's family. Again, using my Social Security money to buy a roast that would feed 4 people who apparently thought I was a pathetic joke. The kitchen door opened. Bridget came back in, phone pressed to her ear, giving me an apologetic look that I now understood was completely fake. "Mom, I'm sorry, but Connor just called. He's coming home early with a client, and I need to get some work done before they arrive. Do you mind if we reschedule dinner?" Translation: "Leave, get out, you're in the way." "Of course," I heard myself say. "I understand." "You're the best, Mom." Love you. Love. What a meaningless word. I gathered my things. My purse, my light jacket, the reusable grocery bag I'd brought the ingredients in. Bridget was already back on her laptop, barely looking at me as I left. I drove home in a daze. My 2012 Honda Civic that Garrett had called an embarrassment in one of his posts made the familiar turns automatically while my mind spun. At home, I sat in my living room, the one with the floral wallpaper and doilies that Bridget mocked online, and cried. Not polite tears, ugly, choking sobs that came from somewhere deep and broken inside me. Frank would have been horrified. He'd loved our children so much, worked overtime for years to pay for their college so they wouldn't have debt, taught Garrett how to change oil and fix drywall, walked Bridget down the aisle at her wedding. He'd been so proud of them. What would he think of them now? My phone buzzed, a text from Garrett. "Hey Mom, can you watch the boys Friday night? Shanice and I have tickets to a concert. We'll drop them off at 6 o'clock. Not a question. An assumption that I'd say yes. Because I always said yes. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I opened Facebook again and read through all the posts. Every joke, every complaint, every humiliating photo and video. There were dozens. Spread over 2 years. 2 years of my children publicly mocking me while asking for my money, my time, my help. One post from Garrett caught my eye. Mom asked to borrow $500 today for unexpected expenses. I said no for the first time ever, and you'd think I'd committed a crime. The guilt trip was epic. Guys, when is it okay to stop financially supporting your parents? She has Social Security. I'd never asked Garrett for $500. Never once. I'd asked if I could borrow his truck to move a dresser I'd bought on Craigslist. He'd said no because he needed it that weekend, so I'd paid $75 for delivery instead. He'd lied, made up a story about me begging for money, and 83 people had validated him. I sat in my living room as the sun set, the room growing dark around me, and something shifted inside me. I'd been a good mother, a generous mother, maybe too generous. I'd given them everything: money I couldn't afford, time I didn't have, love they didn't deserve, and they'd repaid me by turning me into an internet joke. But there was something my children didn't know. Several things, actually. They didn't know that the house Frank and I bought in 1987 for $89,000 was now worth $680,000 thanks to Portland's real estate boom. They'd assumed it was still a modest little property worth maybe $200,000. They didn't know that Frank's life insurance had been $250,000, not the $50,000 I'd told them. Most of it was still sitting in investments, growing quietly. They didn't know that my small pension was actually quite substantial because Frank had worked for the post office for 32 years, and I'd been very careful with money. They didn't know that I wasn't the pathetic, helpless, financially struggling widow they'd painted me as online. I'd played that role because I'd wanted to protect them. I didn't want them to see me as a bank account. I wanted them to love me, not for what I could give them. But they'd shown me who they really were, and it was time to show them who I really was. I opened my laptop. Yes, I had a laptop, though my children thought I could barely use a smartphone, and began to research. Lawyers, estate planners, financial advisors, and most importantly, how to download and save every single post, comment, and message my children had written about me. Because if they wanted to make me a public spectacle, I was going to make sure everyone saw the whole truth. My children thought they were mocking a helpless old woman. They had no idea they'd just woken up a force they couldn't handle. I spent the next 3 days methodically documenting everything, every post, every comment, every lie my children had told about me online. I created a folder on my computer labeled Evidence and took screenshots of everything. The posts about me being a financial burden, the videos of me struggling with technology, the photos mocking my home, the lies about me asking for money I'd never requested. Then I went further back. I pulled out my bank statements from the past 5 years, every check I'd written to Garrett and Bridget, every Venmo transfer, every time I'd paid for groceries, mortgage payments, braces, birthday parties, or school supplies. The total came to $47,800. Nearly $50,000 I'd given my children while they publicly complained that I was draining them. On Thursday morning, Garrett texted, "Still okay to watch the boys tomorrow night?" I replied, "Actually, something came up. I can't make it." 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, "Mom, we already have tickets. We're counting on you. I'm sorry. I have plans." What plans? You never have plans. There it was, the assumption that my life existed solely to serve theirs. "I have a doctor's appointment," I lied. "On a Friday night?" "Yes." The dots appeared and disappeared 3 times. Finally, "Fine. I guess we'll have to cancel. Thanks for the notice." "No, I hope you're okay." "No, is everything all right?" "Just guilt and inconvenience." I didn't respond. Friday morning, I had an appointment with Maxwell Rivera, an estate planning attorney I'd found through online reviews. His office was in a modern building downtown, all glass and polished steel. "Mrs. Hart, thank you for coming in." He was a man in his late 40s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. "You mentioned on the phone that you wanted to discuss your estate planning?" "Yes. I need to make some changes to my will, and I need advice on a family situation." Over the next hour, I showed him everything: the Facebook posts, the text messages, the bank statements proving what I'd given my children, the documentation of their lies. His expression grew darker as he read. Mrs. Hart, I'm very sorry. This is elder financial abuse and defamation. You could pursue legal action if you wanted. I don't want to sue my children. I just want to protect myself and make sure they understand consequences. Tell me about your current assets. I told him everything. The house worth $680,000, fully paid off. The $187,000 remaining from Frank's life insurance, invested in mutual funds. My pension of $2,400 a month, plus Frank's Social Security survivor benefits of $1,800 a month. My own Social Security of $1,200. His eyebrows rose. You have approximately $870,000 in assets plus a monthly income of $5,400? Yes. And your children think you're struggling financially? I let them think that. I didn't want them to see me as a bank account. I laughed bitterly. Turns out they saw me as one anyway, just a small one they could drain guilt-free. Mrs. Hart, here's what I recommend. First, we revise your will. Currently, everything goes to your children equally? Yes. We can change that. We can set up a trust that distributes funds based on certain conditions, or we can remove them entirely and leave your estate to charities, other relatives, or anyone else you choose. The thought of cutting Garrett and Bridget out completely made my chest ache. But then I remembered Garrett's post calling me an embarrassment. Bridget's post mocking Frank's memory through our home decor. What about my grandchildren? I asked. They're innocent in all this. We can set up educational trusts for them that their parents can't touch. The money goes directly to tuition, books, and approved educational expenses. Your grandchildren benefit, but your children don't. I like that. Second, I recommend you stop all financial support immediately. No more loans, no more gifts, no more bailouts. Document every request they make and every reason you decline. They'll be angry. Let them be angry. Mrs. Hart, they've been publicly mocking you for years while taking your money. Anger is a small price for them to pay. He was right. Third, and this is optional, but you might consider confronting them with the evidence. Not in person. In writing, a letter or email laying out exactly what you've discovered and what consequences they'll face. Sometimes people don't realize how cruel they've been until it's shown to them in black and white. I thought about that. Part of me wanted to see their faces when they realized I knew, but part of me dreaded the confrontation. I'll think about it. One more thing. Have you considered that your children might be planning to challenge your will when you pass, or that they might try to have you declared incompetent to gain control of your assets? Ice ran through my veins. You think they'd do that? Mrs. Hart, I've seen families do terrible things for money. Your children have already shown they're willing to publicly humiliate you and lie about you. I'm just suggesting we take precautions. A cognitive evaluation from a doctor stating you're of sound mind. Documentation of your competence. That way, if they ever try to claim you were confused or manipulated, we have evidence to the contrary. They're my children. They wouldn't. I stopped. Because I'd thought they wouldn't mock me online either. And they had. For 2 years. Let's do it. All of it. We spent another hour revising my will. Everything would go into a trust for my grandchildren's education. $50,000 would go to my sister Shirley, who'd always been kind to me. Another $50,000 would be split among 3 charities Frank had cared about. My house would be sold and the proceeds added to the grandchildren's trust. Garrett and Bridget would inherit nothing except the knowledge that their cruelty had cost them nearly $1 million. That evening, I had dinner with my sister Shirley at a quiet Italian restaurant in Northwest Portland. She was 65, widowed like me, and had always been my closest confidant. You seem different, she said, studying me over her wine glass. Something happened. I showed her everything. The posts, the documentation, the new will. Shirley's face went through a range of emotions: shock, anger, sadness, and finally, grim satisfaction. I never liked how they treated you, she admitted. Always calling at the last minute to babysit, always asking for money. I bit my tongue because they're your kids, but Evie, they've been using you for years. I let them. I was so afraid of being alone after Frank died that I let them walk all over me. What are you going to do? I'm going to stop. No more money, no more last-minute babysitting, no more pretending to be helpless so they don't feel intimidated by my financial stability. They're going to be furious. Good. Let them be furious. Maybe they'll post about it on Facebook and I can screenshot that too. Shirley laughed, then grew serious. What about the grandkids? You love those boys. I did. Garrett's sons were 8 and 6, sweet kids who had nothing to do with their parents' cruelty. Bridget's son was 5, an energetic little boy who called me Grandma Evie and drew me pictures. The trust takes care of them. They'll have their college fully paid for, and I can still see them, on my terms, not as the emergency babysitter but as their grandmother who they visit because they want to, not because their parents need free child care. When are you going to tell Garrett and Bridget? I'm not sure yet. Part of me wants to see how long it takes for them to notice I'm not available anymore. It didn't take long. Saturday morning, Bridget called. Mom, I need a huge favor. Connor's mom is in town and I want to take her to brunch, but I need someone to watch Theo. Can you take him for a few hours? No, I can't. I have plans. What plans? Personal plans. Mom, this is important. Connor's mom is very judgmental, and if I can't find a sitter, she's going to think I'm a bad mother. The irony was stunning. Bridget thought her mother-in-law was judgmental, yet she'd spent years publicly judging me. I'm sorry, but no. Seriously? You can't help me out this one time? This one time, as if I hadn't helped her hundreds of times. No, Bridget. I can't. Fine. I'll figure it out myself, like always. She hung up. 2 hours later, Garrett texted, Shanice's car broke down and she needs to borrow yours for a few days while it's in the shop. Can you drop it off today? No, I need my car. For what? You barely drive anywhere. That's not the point. I need my vehicle. Mom, this is an emergency. Shanice has to get to work. She can take an Uber or rent a car. Why are you being so difficult? Difficult. I was being difficult for not immediately handing over my car. I'm not being difficult. I'm saying no. What's gotten into you? First the babysitting thing and now this. I'm allowed to say no, Garrett? Yeah, but you never do. What's going on? I almost told him right then, almost sent screenshots of every awful thing he'd posted about me, but I wasn't ready yet. Nothing's going on. I'm just establishing some boundaries. Boundaries? Since when do you need boundaries with your own children? Since they started mocking me online while draining my bank account. Since now. Have a good day, Garrett. I hung up before he could respond. Sunday came, the day I'd hosted family dinner every week for 4 years. I'd already told both kids I wasn't doing it this week, claiming I wasn't feeling well. At 5:30 p.m., my phone exploded. Bridget, group text with Garrett. Mom, we're at your house. The door is locked. Where are you? Me. I told you I wasn't feeling well. No dinner today. Garrett. You said you weren't feeling well. We brought medicine, opened the door. I was home, sitting in my living room with the lights off, watching through the window as my children banged on my door. Me. I need to rest. Please go home. Bridget. This is ridiculous. Just let us in. Garrett. The kids were looking forward to seeing you. The guilt trip, of course. Me. We'll reschedule when I'm feeling better. I watched them stand on my porch for another 5 minutes, arguing with each other. Finally, they left. 10 minutes later, a new Facebook post from Bridget appeared on my phone. When your mom cancels plans last minute and won't even open the door. I drove 30 minutes with a hungry kid in the car because she always does Sunday dinner, and now apparently that's too much to ask? I'm worried about her, but also really frustrated. Family drama. Kraus. 32 comments already, people expressing concern for me, suggesting I might be depressed or having a mental health crisis, others validating Bridget's frustration. I screenshot it and added it to my folder. They still didn't get it. They thought I was being unreasonable, that I owed them access to my home, my time, my resources whenever they wanted. They had no idea that I'd spent the past week systematically removing them from my life. My phone rang. Garrett. I declined the call. He called again. Declined. A text. Mom, you're scaring us. If you don't answer, we're going to call for a wellness check. A wellness check. They'd send police to my house because I'd said no to dinner. I called Garrett back. Mom? Finally. What's going on? Nothing is going on. I'm resting. I don't feel well, and I don't appreciate being harassed because I canceled one dinner. We're not harassing you. We're worried. Worried that I won't cook for you anymore? That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time either of you invited me to your house for dinner? When was the last time you cooked for me? Silence. That's what I thought. I've been cooking Sunday dinner for you every week for 4 years. I think I've earned 1 week off without a guilt trip. Mom, this isn't like you. Maybe this is exactly like me and you just never noticed. I hung up and turned off my phone. In the dark living room, I sat and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. For the first time since Frank died, I wasn't rushing to please someone, wasn't calculating how much money I could spare for someone else's emergency, wasn't making myself small and helpless so my children wouldn't feel threatened. I was just being myself, a woman who'd raised 2 children, buried a husband, managed her money wisely, and deserved respect. And if my children couldn't give me that respect, they didn't deserve my time, my money, or my presence in their lives. The only question now was whether to tell them why, or let them figure it out on their own. Monday morning, I woke to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Garrett. Mom, we need to talk. This behavior is concerning. Bridget. I'm coming over after work. We need to discuss what's going on with you. Shanice. Evelyn, Garrett is really worried. Please call him back. Connor. Hey Evelyn, Bridget is super stressed. Whatever's going on between you two, can you work it out? She's been crying all morning. My sister Shirley. The kids called me asking if you're okay. I told them you're fine, but they don't believe me. What do you want me to say? Even my neighbor Paula had texted, Your daughter stopped by this morning looking for you. She seemed upset. Everything okay? They'd mobilized everyone, friends, family, neighbors, all to pressure me into explaining why I'd had the audacity to say no. I texted Shirley back, Tell them I'm fine. I'm just tired of being taken advantage of. Her response came immediately. You told them? Not yet. But I think it's time. I spent Monday morning writing, not an angry rant, but a calm, methodical letter laying out everything. The Facebook posts with dates and screenshots, the lies they'd told about me online, the money I'd given them compared to their claims that I was a financial burden. The pattern of disrespect masked as love. It took me 4 hours to write. When I was done, it was 8 pages long. I saved it, printed 2 copies, and put them in manila envelopes with my children's names on them. Then I drove to FedEx and sent them both via overnight delivery, signature required. They'd have them by Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday morning, both kids showed up at my house at 8 a.m. together. They'd clearly coordinated. I watched through the window as they knocked, then rang the doorbell repeatedly. I didn't answer. Garrett cupped his hands against the glass, trying to see inside. Mom! We know you're home. Your car is in the driveway. This is ridiculous, Bridget said loudly. We're your children. You can't just ignore us. Actually, I could. After 10 minutes, they gave up and left. But not before Bridget took a video on her phone of my locked door with the caption I could imagine, "When your mom is acting crazy and won't even talk to you." At 2:47 p.m., my phone rang. "Garrett," I answered. "Mom." His voice was tight. "I just got a very disturbing package from you." "Did you read it?" "I'm reading it right now, and I don't understand why you're doing this. Why are you digging up old Facebook posts from years ago? Why are you making spreadsheets of money you gave us as gifts?" "Gifts?" "Garrett, you told your friends online that I was a financial burden who constantly asked you for money. But the truth is, I gave you $23,400 over 5 years and never asked for a single dollar back." Those posts were just venting. Everyone complains about their parents online. It doesn't mean anything. It means everything. It means you saw me as a joke, a burden, an embarrassment. We love you, Mom. You know that. Do you? Because calling someone you love exhausting and posting videos of them struggling with technology while you laugh doesn't sound like love to me. You're taking this way too seriously. It's just social media. It's not real life. It became real life when 600 people liked a video of you mocking me, when your friends commented advice on how to deal with needy elderly parents, when you lied and said I asked to borrow $500 that I never asked for. Silence. "I didn't," he started. March 14th, 2023. You posted that I asked to borrow $500 for unexpected expenses, and you said no. I have the screenshot. I also have my text messages from that day asking if I could borrow your truck to move furniture. Not money. Your truck. And you said no, so I paid $75 for delivery I couldn't afford. More silence. Why did you lie about me, Garrett? I don't know. I guess it got likes. People related to it. It felt good to have people validate that parenting your parents is hard. I'm not your child. I'm your mother. And I shouldn't need to be parented by my own children because I asked for help moving furniture twice a year. What do you want from me? An apology? I want you to understand what you did. You turned me into a public joke while taking thousands of dollars from me. You made me feel like I was a burden when I was actually supporting you. Fine. I'm sorry. Can we move past this now? That easy. A casual, "I'm sorry," and I was supposed to forget 4 years of humiliation. No, Garrett. We can't. Not yet. What does that mean? It means I need space, and I need you to take down every post you've made about me. Are you serious? Some of those posts are years old. Then you have a lot of deleting to do. And if I don't, then we don't have a relationship. He laughed, actually laughed. Mom, you're not going to cut me out of your life. You need us too much. And there it was. The truth he actually believed. That I needed them more than they needed me. Goodbye, Garrett. I hung up. 3 minutes later, Bridget called. Mom, what the hell is this package? Are you actually threatening to cut us out of your will over Facebook posts? I'm not threatening anything. I'm telling you what I've already done. You and Garrett are no longer my beneficiaries. Everything goes to the grandchildren's education funds and charity. You can't do that? I can, and I did. It's my money, Bridget. My house. My decision. This is insane. You're cutting us out because we vented online? Do you know how crazy that sounds? Did you read the whole letter? Did you see the part where I documented every dollar I gave you while you told the internet I was draining you financially? That's different. How? How is it different? You're our mom. You're supposed to help us. That's what parents do. And what do children do, Bridget? Mock their widowed mother online. Make her feel like she's a burden when she asks for help twice a month. Take her money while complaining she's taking from you. I never asked you for that money. You offered. You're right. I did offer. Because I love you. But you know what? You never once said thank you. Not once did you post grateful for my mom who helped pay my mortgage when Connor lost his job. Not once did you tell your friends my mom contributed $3,000 to my son's braces. Every post was a complaint. Every comment was mockery. She was crying now. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. For the first time in 4 years, I'm being completely honest, and you can't handle it because you're so used to me being the grateful, helpful, quiet mother who never complains. I'm pregnant. She said it like a trump card. I'm 10 weeks pregnant, and I was going to tell you this weekend at Sunday dinner, but you canceled, and now you're cutting me out of your life when I need you most. My heart clenched. Another grandchild. But, congratulations, Bridget. I hope you have a healthy pregnancy and baby. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That I'll come running back to babysit and pay for things because you're pregnant? Do you even hear yourself? You just told me you need me, but only because I'm useful, not because you love me, because you need free childcare and financial support. That's not true. Isn't it? When was the last time you called me just to talk? Not to ask for something, not to drop Theo off, just to see how I was doing. Silence. That's what I thought. I love you, Bridget. I love all my grandchildren, including this new baby. But I'm done being used. I'm done being mocked. And I'm done pretending that what you've done to me is acceptable. Fine. Fine. You want to be alone? Be alone. But don't come crying to us when you're old and sick and need someone to take care of you. The threat hung in the air. The fear every aging parent has, that they'll be abandoned when they're truly vulnerable. But I'd already been vulnerable. When Frank died and I was drowning in grief, and my children hadn't taken care of me, they'd taken advantage of me. Goodbye, Bridget. I hung up and blocked both their numbers. The next 3 days were silent. No calls, no texts, no visits. Then on Friday, Shirley called. Evie, Garrett came to see me today. What did he say? He's worried about you. He thinks you might be having some kind of breakdown. He asked if I thought you needed to see a doctor. There it was. The next tactic. If guilt doesn't work, try to declare Mom mentally incompetent. Did he ask you to help him get me evaluated? Not in so many words, but yes, that was the implication. He said your behavior has been erratic and concerning. Shirley, I need you to be honest with me. Do you think I'm having a breakdown? No, I think you're finally standing up for yourself. But Evie, they're going to push back hard. Garrett mentioned something about talking to your doctor about wellness concerns. My doctor. They'd go to Dr. Patterson and express concern about my mental state. Try to get her to order an evaluation, possibly even try to get power of attorney for medical decisions. Maxwell Rivera had warned me about this. I'm going to see Dr. Patterson tomorrow. Get ahead of this. Good. And Evie, I'm proud of you. But be careful. Wounded animals bite hardest when they're cornered. She was right. My children felt cornered. They were losing access to money they'd counted on, control they'd taken for granted, and the comfortable dynamic where I did everything they wanted without complaint, and cornered people did desperate things. Saturday morning, I had an appointment with Dr. Patterson. She'd been my physician for 15 years and knew me well. Evelyn, I'm glad you called. I actually got a concerning call from your son yesterday. I know. That's why I'm here. I showed her everything. The Facebook posts, the money I'd given them, the timeline of how I'd finally said no, and they'd responded by trying to have me declared mentally unfit. Dr. Patterson's face grew stern as she read, Evelyn, this is elder abuse, emotional and financial abuse. I know, I've already changed my will and set boundaries, but I need documentation that I'm mentally competent in case they try to challenge anything. She ran me through a standard cognitive assessment, memory tests, problem-solving exercises, current events questions. I passed everything easily. You're sharp as a tack, Evelyn. I'm going to write a letter for your records stating that you're of sound mind and body. And I'm going to note in your file that your son attempted to manipulate me into questioning your competence. If he tries this again, I'll consider it harassment. Thank you. Can I ask what you're planning to do? I don't know yet. Part of me wants to completely cut them out. Part of me hopes they'll understand and change. But mostly, I just want them to see me as a person, not a resource. I hope they do. But Evelyn, prepare yourself for the possibility that they won't. Some people can't admit when they're wrong, especially to the people they've wronged most. I drove home feeling validated but sad. Sad that my own children had pushed me to the point where I needed a doctor's letter confirming I wasn't crazy. My phone buzzed. A notification from Facebook. Garrett had posted, "Watching your parent change into someone you don't recognize is one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. Mental health struggles can happen at any age. If you're dealing with a parent who's suddenly hostile and cutting family off, I recommend reaching out to their doctor. Early intervention matters. Hashtag mental health awareness. Hashtag aging parents. Hashtag family struggles." He was telling the internet I was mentally ill. 300 likes already. Comments flooding in with sympathy and advice. I took a screenshot and added it to my folder. Then I opened my laptop and began composing an email, not to my children, to every single person who'd commented on their posts about me over the past 2 years. It was time the whole truth came out. I spent Saturday evening crafting my response, not an angry rant, not a defensive explanation, just the calm, documented truth. I created a new Facebook post, public, visible to everyone. The post began with a simple statement. My name is Evelyn Hart. I'm 62 years old. For the past 2 years, my children have been posting about me on social media, painting me as a needy, financially struggling burden. I stayed silent because I loved them and didn't want to embarrass them, but after my son's recent post suggesting I'm mentally ill, I feel I need to set the record straight. Then I attached everything. Screenshots of every post they'd made about me, organized chronologically, bank statements showing every dollar I'd given them, $23,400 to Garrett, $24,400 to Bridget, with notes about what each payment was for. Screenshots of their posts claiming I was draining them financially, placed directly next to proof of what I'd actually given them. The video of Garrett mocking me at his birthday party, with a caption, "This is how my son treated me while I was trying to learn technology. He was supposed to be teaching me." Bridget's post mocking my home decor, with a photo of the house I'd paid off through 40 years of hard work. The lies they'd told. Garrett's post claiming I'd asked for $500, next to the actual text messages showing I'd only asked to borrow his truck. And finally, Dr. Patterson's letter confirming my cognitive competence, dated the day after Garrett tried to have me declared mentally unfit. I ended with, "I'm not writing this for sympathy or revenge. I'm writing this because my children have spent 2 years publicly humiliating me while privately taking $47,800 from me. They've made me a joke to their friends while using my money to fund their lives. And when I finally said no, when I finally set boundaries, they tried to have me declared mentally incompetent. I love my children. I always will, but I won't be silent anymore while they lie about me. To everyone who commented on their posts about me, you didn't know the whole truth. Now you do. To my children, I hope someday you'll understand that love isn't measured in money or sacrifices or how much inconvenience you're willing to tolerate. Love is measured in respect, and you stopped respecting me a long time ago. I'm done being your ATM. I'm done being your punchline. I'm done being the mother you complain about to get likes online. I'm just done. I posted it at 8:47 p.m. on Saturday night, and then I turned off my phone and went to bed. When I woke Sunday morning and turned my phone back on, it had exploded. 874 notifications, 312 missed calls, 229 text messages. My post had been shared 1,847 times. It had 4,302 comments and 8,916 reactions, most of them the care and angry emojis. I scrolled through the comments, my coffee growing cold beside me. Oh my God, I commented on those posts about you. I'm so sorry. I had no idea they were lying. This is disgusting. I thought Garrett and Bridget were good people. I've been following them for years and always thought they seemed so nice. This is shocking. Elder abuse is real, and this is exactly what it looks like. Everyone needs to read this. This is what narcissistic adult children do to their parents. Someone had tagged Garrett and Bridget in dozens of comments. Care to explain at Garrett Hart? At Bridget Hart. Morrison ? But the most satisfying comments were from people I knew. Shanice's sister. Shanice, did you know about this? Did you know Garrett was taking money from his mom while posting that she was a burden? Connor's coworker. Bro, this is messed up. Your wife has been lying about her mom this whole time. Paula, my neighbor. I've known Evelyn for 15 years. She's never been anything but kind and independent. Bridget stopped by asking if I'd seen concerning behavior from her mom. Now I understand why. Disgusting. Even some of Garrett's friends had turned, "Man, I've been giving you advice about dealing with needy parents for 2 years. You were lying. You were taking her money the whole time." And then I saw the responses from my children. Garrett had posted, "This is a gross violation of privacy." These were private posts on my personal page. My mother screenshot them without permission and is now defaming me publicly. I've contacted a lawyer. The comments on his post were brutal. Privacy? You posted it publicly on Facebook. That's not private. You're worried about her defaming you? Did you read what you wrote about her? A lawyer? For what? Everything she posted is the truth. Bridget's response was different. She'd posted a long, tearful explanation. I'm sitting here in shock reading my mother's post. Yes, I vented about her online sometimes. Yes, I accepted financial help from her, but I never meant to hurt her. I never thought she'd see those posts. I was just venting to friends about the stress of having aging parents. Every adult child goes through this. I'm pregnant and emotional, and I don't need this drama right now. Mom, if you're reading this, please call me. We can work this out privately. We don't need to destroy our family publicly. But the comments weren't sympathetic. You never thought she'd see posts you made publicly online? How dumb do you think people are? Accepted financial help is a cute way to say, took $24,000 while calling her a burden. You're pregnant and don't need drama. Your mom is 62 and doesn't need children who mock her online for likes. My phone rang. Shirley. Evie, are you okay? I just saw your post. It's everywhere. I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. The kids are melting down. Bridget called me crying. Garrett called me angry. They want me to convince you to take the post down. What did you tell them? I told them they made their bed and now they have to lie in it. Evie, I'm so proud of you. This took guts. It took being pushed too far. Half the family has called me. Everyone's seen it. Aunt Marie said she always thought Garrett was too focused on money. Cousin Beth said she's unfriending both of them. This is big, Evie. I know. Part of me feels guilty, but mostly I feel relieved. Don't feel guilty. They did this to themselves. By Monday afternoon, the fallout was spreading. Garrett's boss called him in for a meeting. Apparently, several clients had seen the post and expressed concern about doing business with someone who financially exploited his elderly mother. His company had a strong family values brand. The optics were terrible. Bridget lost 3 major freelance clients who said they didn't feel comfortable working with her anymore after seeing how she treated her mother online. Connor's mother, the one Bridget had been so desperate to impress, called and canceled their planned visit. I don't associate with people who abuse their parents, she'd told Connor. Shanice's family reached out to me privately to apologize and offer support. They hadn't known what Garrett was doing. The grandchildren's school had some parents asking questions, nothing formal, but enough whispers that Garrett and Shanice were embarrassed at pickup. Tuesday morning, I got an email from Garrett. Not a text. An email. Mom, you've made your point. You've humiliated us publicly. You've cost me clients and damaged my reputation. Bridget is having stress issues with her pregnancy because of this. I'm asking you, begging you, to take the post down. We'll apologize. We'll make things right. But please, take it down before you completely destroy our lives. We're sorry. We're really, truly sorry. We didn't realize how much we hurt you. We took you for granted. We were wrong. Please, give us a chance to fix this. Garrett, I read it 3 times. Then I called Maxwell Rivera, my attorney. Mr. Rivera, my son is asking me to take down my Facebook post. Legally, do I have to? Absolutely not. Everything you posted is documented truth. You're not defaming anyone. You're defending yourself against their defamation of you. What if they sue me? Let them try. Discovery would be fascinating. Can you imagine them having to explain in court why they posted hundreds of cruel things about you while taking $47,000? No lawyer would take that case. They say I'm destroying their lives. Mrs. Hart, they destroyed their own lives by documenting their abuse publicly. You just made sure people saw the whole picture instead of their edited version. So you think I should leave the post up? I think you should do whatever brings you peace, but legally, you have every right to leave it up. Wednesday afternoon, both Garrett and Bridget showed up at my house. Together. I watched through the window as they approached the door. This time, I opened it. They looked terrible. Garrett had dark circles under his eyes. Bridget's face was puffy from crying, her pregnant belly just starting to show under her loose shirt. Mom? Garrett said, "Can we please come in and talk?" I hesitated, then stepped aside. We sat in my living room, the one with the floral wallpaper they'd mocked. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, Bridget broke. Mom, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. We didn't realize, we never meant. She was crying too hard to continue. You never meant for me to find out, I said quietly. That's different from never meaning to hurt me. You're right, Garrett said. His voice was hoarse. We were selfish. We took advantage of you. We made you a joke because it was easier than admitting we were failing as children. Failing how? We weren't there for you after Dad died. We should have been checking on you, inviting you over, making sure you were okay. Instead, we let you do all the work, all the cooking, all the planning, all the giving. And when you needed help, we treated it like an inconvenience instead of a privilege. This was the first time either of them had acknowledged what they'd actually done wrong. I gave you everything, I said. Money I could barely afford, time I didn't have, love you didn't appreciate, and you turned it into internet content for likes. I know, Bridget whispered. I know, and I can't take it back. I can't undo those posts or those comments or the years of making you feel small, but Mom, I want to try. I want to be better, not because I want your money or your help, because I want my mom, the real relationship, not the one where you're just useful. Do you mean that? Or are you saying it because your clients left and your reputation is ruined? She flinched. Both. I mean, yes, the consequences scared me, but reading your post, seeing everything laid out like that, seeing what we did to you in black and white, Mom, I was disgusted with myself. That's not who I want to be. That's not the mother I want to be to Theo and this new baby. I looked at Garrett. And you? I deleted every post about you, every single one, and I posted an apology explaining what I did and why it was wrong. I'm sure I'll lose more followers. I don't care. You were right about all of it. What about the money? They exchanged glances. We want to pay you back, Garrett said. It'll take time. We don't have $47,000 lying around, but we'll make payment plans. $500 a month each, whatever we need to do to make it right. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? Bridget asked desperately. I want you to understand that I'm not an ATM. I'm not a free babysitter. I'm not a punchline. I'm your mother. And I deserve respect even when I'm not giving you something. You do. You absolutely do. I want you to think before you post, before you complain about me to your friends, before you treat my help as an expectation instead of a gift. We will. I promise we will, Garrett said. And I want space. Time to heal from this. Time to figure out if we can rebuild trust. How much time? Bridget asked. I don't know. Maybe weeks, maybe months, but I need you to respect that. They nodded. Will you take down the post? Garrett asked quietly. I thought about it. The post had done its job. The truth was out. People knew what they'd done. Leaving it up forever felt like holding on to anger I didn't want to carry. Yes, but I'm keeping all the screenshots. And if you ever treat me that way again, if you ever mock me or lie about me or take advantage of me, I won't hesitate to show people who you really are. That's fair, Bridget said. More than fair. They left shortly after. No hugs, no warm reunion. Just a tentative first step toward something that might someday be a real relationship. 6 months later, things were different. Garrett and Bridget paid me $500 each every month. I put it directly into the grandchildren's education fund. They didn't know that. They thought I was keeping it, and I let them think that. The guilt was part of their lesson. Bridget had her baby, a girl she named Evelyn after me. I cried when she told me. We had dinner together once a month. They came to my house and they helped cook. Real conversations, not just them complaining or asking for things. They asked before dropping by. They said thank you when I helped. They never posted about me online again. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments. Still tension when past hurts bubbled up. Still times when I wondered if they'd learned anything real or just learned to hide their resentment better. But it was honest. For the first time in years, our relationship was honest. My name is Evelyn Margaret Hart. I'm 63 years old. I gave my children everything for most of their lives. My time, my money, my unconditional love, and they turned me into an internet joke while taking advantage of my generosity. But when I finally stood up for myself, when I finally showed them the truth about what they'd done, something unexpected happened. They broke. They faced consequences. They lost friends, clients, respect. And in losing those things, they finally understood what they'd been taking from me all along, my dignity. I don't know if our relationship will ever be what it was. Honestly, I don't want it to be what it was. What it was involved me being small and them being entitled. What we have now is better, harder, but better, because now they see me as a person, not a resource, and that's all I ever really wanted. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.